Toni Mabey, and I was a client at Westminster House in 1992, and I stayed there for a 4-month period. I come from a very dysfunctional family. I had my first drink at 11. I had my first blackout at 12, and by the time I was 15, I was intravenously using drugs. So it was very short and fast. It was desperate, it was despair, and it was anguish. And so it just became a way of life and a struggle, not fitting in anywhere, feeling like, you know, a square peg fitting in a round hole, and it was never very good at home. So I escaped. This was back east, and I came out west thinking that things would be better, and they weren't. They became worse. When I moved to the West Coast, I got pregnant, and I thought, oh, okay, I had a daughter, and I thought, oh, things are going to be so much better for her. And they weren't. They were worse. So despite my addiction, I had a great job. You know, one position I was there for 9 years, and you know, when I did show up, I was really good. But so a lot of time I didn't show up, but when I did get there, I was very good. So and life just became a really terrible spiral, and it just became about borrowing money from, you know, everybody at work, and people, everybody knew I had a problem, but I didn't want to go to a local treatment center because I thought, oh geez, you know, like I don't want anybody to know, but truth be told, everybody knew. You were like, you go talk to her. No, you go talk to her, you know. So, yeah. So it got really bad at the end, and then I found a dealer that took Visa, and that was kind of the end of the end, and, you know, cashed in my kid's scholarship, and it was just kind of downhill. And so I thought, oh, okay, I really do need to get some help. And I finally went to a doctor and got honest with him, and I said, well, don't send me to a local treatment place, because, you know, I don't want anybody to know I have a problem, right? And so he sent me over to the island to this treatment program, and did not work out very well for me. It was a mixed treatment center. I almost got married there. It was not a good experience, but I did manage to stay clean for a little bit, but not continuously, because other life things happened, and I went on another relapse and ended up in Jamaica, of all places, with 2 other women, and we were going to set up a little bar and grill and die, because that's basically what would have happened down there. And so when I was down doing that, there was I knew that if I didn't come back to Canada, that something terrible was going to happen to me, and something terrible was already happening to my kids. So anyway, so I got on a plane, and I came back to Canada, and somebody said, well, you should go to a recovery house. And I went, well, what's a recovery house? And went over to the house, to the little house, Westminster House, and I walked in the door, and this is the part where I'm not going to be able to hold it together. And I opened the door, and there was this little blonde woman there called Grace Wood, who was the director there at the time. And she looked at me with those big blue eyes and she said, "Welcome home." And I knew that I was home and I was safe, and it would be an okay place to stay. And what I can say about that, I think it was the big thing for me was just the feeling of love and support, and just the genuine caring of that house. When I left Westminster House, there were so many. It was those 4 months were the most valuable to me ever. Like, I don't know if anybody has mother issues, but I certainly had them. And I have to speak about the time that when I was at Westminster House and my mother wanted me to go to England with her. And I drank and used with my mother. And that would have been suicide for me. And because of being there, I was able to tell my mother no. So there was this, I was estranged from my mother for quite a while after that. But then the bridges mended more. I think post-recovery was most helpful between me and my daughter. And the challenge with addiction is that it's a family disease. And it's not just you that has that disease. It can be, you know, like your siblings and your children and your family of origin. So that was the same for me. So I think for me, because it provided me like a base. I feel like Westminster House in a way saved my life, right? And what are you going to do for somebody that saves your life, right? You're going to give back to it, right? In whatever way you choose to do that. So